Welcome, citizens, to the first video from Dreadful Productions. Wait, Dreadfield Productions? Really? That's our name? Fuck it. Run intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first video ever on my brand new channel. And if you've ever seen my other channels, how the hell are you stalking me? Some kind of weird hacker. Anyway, moving on. Phantom Crash. If anyone's ever played it, and I don't suppose anyone ever has, because I've never talked to anyone who has, but it is one of the most amazing mech games I have played, certainly in the last 17 years. I know we've got a few on the market these days, like Hawken and other, just scroll through Steam and you'll probably find them, but quite frankly, this kind of beats them all in its own way, and it's 17 years old. It came out in 2001 at some point, and I fully looked up the date before recording this, but I can't be bothered to go back and find it. So go Google it, put it in a comment and let me know, and I'll include it in the next video, and you get a magical star for your chest. Wait, that sounded wrong. Anyway, moving on. So, this game, Phantom Crash, what are you? Well, it's a very basic kind of text-based game. I mean, you'll see in a minute, it has a hell lot of text. But one thing it does really do very, very well is actually mech combat. You'll see over the next course of a few videos that there are a whole multitude of loads of different weapons you have. Just to name a few. You have all kinds of rocket launchers, both shoulder and arm. You have penetrator airstrikes. It is thoroughly thought out, even if the narrative is a little bit, well, I'm just gonna totally leave it to your imagination to fill in the blanks. So, without further ado, here we go, Phantom Crash. And anyone who's not 20 plus years old is going to realise that there was once upon a time of, well, back in 2000 or so yeah, 20 years old is probably about right, when the whole game industry didn't really worry about, oh no, it's not 1080p, I'm gonna lose my mind, and oh my god, it's only 30 FPS and not 60, no, the world must be coming to an end. No, you're just too young to know that good games don't necessarily have to have amazing graphics. Yes, it's nice when they do, but they don't have to be nice games. That's just it. Moving on. So if you come to this channel thinking you're gonna get a gaming video of amazing quality, you're in the wrong place. Just, I can't say leave, don't leave, but maybe just tone down your expectations just a little bit. Anyway, here we go. So, as you can, I'm sure you've basically already realised, the whole narrative of this game is played out just like a play. It's an entirely text-based game. I think, apart from a small cutscene you're supposed to get at the end of the game. Shocking admission, in 17 years I have never actually managed to finish this game. I just haven't got there. I haven't had the skill or the time, and to be honest, every time I got somewhere I lost somehow my saves, so yeah, I can't tell you what's coming up, so don't worry about spoilers. There won't be any. There will just be loads and loads and loads of text. Have fun reading. No, not really. I might leave you to read it. I might read it. I've not quite decided yet. At the moment, I'm just gonna leave you to read it because you don't really want to hear me try to. Wow, really? Pepper? Yeah, you'll realise they put not much thought. pepper and salsa. Yeah, so it's really, they didn't do much effort in the whole naming department. I suspect about as much time as Microsoft did when they thought, oh, what can we name our new Xbox? I know, the Xbox One. And then they thought, so the next generation, instead of Xbox 2, that might be a bit confusing. We might just go with something bizarre and like nobody saw it coming, like the Xbox X. Yeah, they're so terrible. I mean, at least the one thing you can say for Sony is that they're consistent, you know, PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, and then PS Pro. Yeah, okay, I'll totally give you that. The Pro is a little bit, nobody saw that one coming, but, you know, it's better than raising people's hopes by saying, hey, this console is called Scorpio as its name, as its nickname, so because we haven't thought of a proper name, and then come out with a name like Xbox X. Ah, man. Xbox X. I mean, can you be, you know, it's like they've just dragged some poor hobo off the street, given him 50p and went, here, think of a name for our new console. What do you have so far? It's called the Xbox. How about Xbox Air? Yep. Yes, that's a brilliant idea. Thank you, you just saved us paying our marketing department a lot of money by thinking of a name which actually makes sense. But, I totally digress. Let's just get back to the intro. The bloody badly laid out keyboard. How I miss thee. It doesn't feel like there's enough games these days that have this sort of functionality to put in some bad, ridiculous name into a video game. At least none of the games that I generally tend to play. Maybe I've played the wrong games, and you should totally write a comment. Let me know which games still actually do the whole put your own name thing. Anyway, there's no way I'm losing to Mr. USA. Yeah, USA, no, Mr. USA, that's right. Yeah, Brexit? No, not really. And if you're from Europe, please don't throw a hissy fit or something, you know, I don't know whatever it is you people do over there over the pond. So I'm just going to stick with Dread. Dread's a good name. Goes with the channel, Dread. You know, it's actually quite funny. This soundtrack you're hearing in the background now is from a cyber idol. They're called cyber idols in this game, and I have to say it totally predicted the trend. Now I'm not up to date on my Japanese history post now, but yeah, this cyber idol, Mona Lisa, she's called. Again, a fantastic name for whoever's department that was, Mona Lisa. She's a cyber idol. She's literally, even in-game, she's a computer-generated voice and a holographic display. So, yeah, it totally predicted what's happening now. If anyone knows what's happening now in Japan, to recap, there's a program online. It is paid for, but, you know, if you go on Wikipedia, you can find a whole lot about it, called Vocaloid. Vocaloid is a electronic voice synthesizer. You literally type in words and the idea is that the program will then put a voice to those words, and you can create songs without having to actually have the ability to sing, which is pretty good if you're me, because you can't sing, and most of you are probably thinking he can't even talk properly. Yes, you are probably right in some context. Anyway, in Japan, and there are loads of YouTube videos about it, I thoroughly encourage you to go look them up. There is a holographic projected character, basically an anime, called Hatsune Miku. And if you go to Comic-Con or Hyper Japan or any one of these cool places, not to say you're not cool if you don't go, but you're totally not cool. Or maybe it's not cool to say that you're cool because you decided you're cool. In any case, I digress. Again, Hatsune Miku, totally computer generated, computer synthesized, everything about it. Like, it came off of a computer in some office somewhere. But it really does, like, it's had massive impact. I mean, if you go to Comic-Con, you've probably seen these girls walking around. I mean, if you see girls with, like, massive sort of aqua/turquoise hair, there's a good chance it is Hatsune Miku. If you go on YouTube, there's entire videos of basically stadiums worth of, one assumes mostly men, but probably not just men, of, you know, all watching this holographic display, or this projector screen way at the front, listening to this music and like headbanging, and they got the whole kind of rave neon lights. It really is quite incredible. And you know, one of the funniest videos on YouTube, again, thoroughly recommend, is a video of this concert, but it's a video of concert that they've shown to older old women and old men and women, like 60-year-old men and women, and they literally sit there like kind of squinting at the screen, old dears, going, is that hologram? What are they doing? It's so funny. Like, literally, please go and watch it. If you don't watch any other video other than this one, go watch that video. I don't know what it's called, I'll have a look right now for you, but literally just type in Vocaloid an old woman, and you'd probably find it fairly easily, to be honest. Really easily. So Salsa's still bitching. Okay, we're just gonna ignore her for a bit. Oh, Hollies, yeah, they're my favourite SVs. Don't ask me what an SV actually stands for, I couldn't really tell you, I always forget. I suppose it's sports vehicle or something weird. I probably should have asked that woman when she said, do you have any questions? I'm like, I just skipped over that bit because I totally know most of this stuff, and we'll probably go through it anyway. So let's have a look. Vocaloid concert and old lady, old people. Right, okay, so Vocaloid concert and old people. Okay, so let's have a look here. World is mine. I'll tell you what though, you get loads of videos out of the actual concerts and the proper songs that she has. So, oh, here it is. Yes, here it is. Okay, so the video you're looking for is called Elders React to Vocaloids, and then in brackets you got Hatsune Miku. There's a few other names as well, but I'm sure if you just put the Elders React to Vocaloid, it is so fun. It's so funny. I would thoroughly encourage you to read it. In fact, if I can link it, I will link it in the description just so you can see it. It is hilarious. It is totally funny. But this game totally predicted it, and I don't know if it was around all the way back then, but it's totally correct. I mean, this game called it to a T. It's a synthetic holographic person with a synthetic voice, and you get massive fans of these cyber idols, and you'll see them in a minute. You'll when you actually enter the Rumble Arena, there will be bright pink SVs, which are all fans of the Mona Lisa, and I believe they do get a few chunks of text at some point during the game. So, as I'm sure you can actually realise right now, this is a very long text-based game, and in fact, one of the main things which I find hilarious is that the makers of this game really didn't want you to skip this text. I mean, you could just mash the A button, but when you mash the A button, it just speeds through that particular chunk, so you'd still be like A. To skip through the whole sequence, you have to put... Okay, so imagine an Xbox controller, one of the originals, but even if you have a PS4 controller, that's no problem. So, on the Xbox controller, you have the original. You have the two trigger buttons. Now, you have to hold those trigger buttons down, and on a PS controller, they're called left 2 and right 2, I think. They're the trigger buttons. So, on an Xbox 360 and Xbox One controller, they're called LT and RT. So, you have to hold those down. And the thumbsticks, and I've totally forgotten what their official designation is, but this... Luckily, the PS has the same system, even though it's in a slightly wrong place. So you have to hold those two down. So all those you have to hold down, and you have to hold them for a good 10 seconds or so to get through every sequence. So this is the map. It's kind of a hub-based world. So you've got your garage, you have, I just showed you a second ago, you have 3 shops. That's my favourite, the Venturo. They sell the Hollies, then you have the Kojima, and you have that one. They're my least favourite, those ones. I don't like them. I mostly stick to Hollies for reasons that will become blatantly obvious later on in the game, because only Hollies can have javelins. Now, javelins are the most amazing weapon in the game. Javelins are basically lasers, effectively. There's no other word for it. They are lasers, but they regenerate their own power themselves. You get 10 seconds or so of, you know, just blasting away, and then you wait a few seconds and it regenerates. You never have to worry about ammo, which is one of the most amazing things of the javelin, not to mention they are awful. They are awfully damaging pieces of equipment. Sonic Camp is the music store, and I'll be going in there once I've got some more money, but the 200,000 yen is mostly to buy you an SV, like I'm doing right now. So these are the 3 SVs you get. They're not randomized, they're always the same, but what you do with them is more important than how they start. As you'll see, I can basically... Yes, thank you phone for ruining that moment. But as you see, all the specs, and I think this is... When this game came out, I was only 7 years old. This is one of the first games which actually pushed me towards finding and actually reading the specs. Most of the time when you get specs of weapons, you look at one thing. In this game, you do not get away with that. You have to look at durability, at, you know, everything you see in front of you, run speed, height. When you get new equipment, you have to make sure it's not too heavy. You can upgrade it and make it heavier and lighter. Do more damage when it gets heavier, do less damage when it gets lighter, but equally when it gets lighter, it holds more rounds, more capacity, or it fires longer, or whatever. So it's a balancing act between weight and effectiveness, really. And this one, even though it's the most expensive, is the best one so far. Just out of those 3, I mean, there really wasn't any difference between the first one and the second one. Electron's the chip name, and we'll go into that. You get 2 kinds of chips. You get custom chips, which are all based on animals, for some reason, don't ask, and you get the bog standard chips. Now, when you just buy straightforward Scoobies, that's what they're called, out of the shops, that's what you get. You just get the bog standard chip. As you can see there, those are my 3 game saves that never managed to reach the end of the game. So I'm gonna have to lose one of you. I don't know which one to get rid of. And I don't know why I'm choosing my wolf chip, because my wolf chip is the one I like the most. But that's okay, because I'll buy you again. Are you going to choose anytime soon? Oh no, I don't know what. Oh, I'm not writing an essay in that one. That's really weird. And as you can see, the dates on this video are clearly not set. I did not bother setting the time and date system on my Xbox when I first turned it on after I plugged it in. I just didn't bother. I mean, who really has the time and effort to bother doing something like that? Okay, so here we have the rest of the options. Stock modules. This is where I'll find all the bits and pieces. Once I start buying different weapons and guns, this is where it's all going to be. Nice and simple, nice and straightforward. Stickers and paint jobs and things, they make absolutely no effect. They're just purely cosmetic. Records, that's where you see your own gameplay statistics, so you can see, oh my god, I've left 100 hours on this game, I'm ruining my life. And this is most important, the schedule. They tell you what areas are going to have what class battles. It's classes A to D. Obviously you're not going to want to go straight in on an A if you're, you know, unexperienced, because you are going to get the crap kicked out of you, something fierce. Now the first ranker, that's the boss of the game. He is the guy I want to be to finish the game. Every area, all three areas, so Shiniba, Shinjuku and the third one, which I can't quite read on my version of my software because the screen goes a little bit funny. In any case, each of those three areas have area rankers. So ranks A to D have bosses or mini bosses that you have to beat to get there. So, yeah, nice and simple. Or so you think. Oh boy. Here we go again, more talking. Don't worry, the talking is strictly minimal after this. Each time you go into somewhere first time, you get a block of text, but generally after that, they tend to leave you alone to do whatever it is that you want to do. So these are a few more sort of NPC characters that I will be battling against. Roy, I believe, he's one of the area leaders of the third area, the one that had the first class, on a second ago when we were in the schedule. Shinku, to be honest, I don't remember her at all. She, yeah, well, I don't remember her at all, so I can't really talk about her, to be honest. All I can say is the talking is actually quite funny. All the NPCs tend to take the mickey out of each other, and there's something really quite amusing when one of their chips point out that their owners are flushing or they're getting agitated or something, because it really is quite... You're not supposed to do that, you're supposed to be nice to me. In most games, the NPCs are supposed to be nice people. Not in this game though. Don't come here thinking you're gonna be treated nicely, because you won't. This is first and foremost a combat game, so you are gonna get shit canned. My aim in every one of these videos is to do at least, or try to do, one boss in each game. So that is one area mini boss, so classes A to D, so obviously this one I'll try to get a boss. Siba, he is, I believe, a class A in Shinbuya East, sorry. And he is totally, I have to say, he's a total pain in the ass. He is thoroughly maneuverable, and he has javelins as well, so, you know, you kind of, if you get hit by a javelin, you kind of get screwed over pretty quickly if he gets a lock on you. So, Siba. Yeah, blue. I don't know, they just didn't put any effort into writing this, did they? Anyway, just let it roll on. That's my name. Dromion? I have to say, that's quite a cool name. But one thing, it's always the case that when you play these old retro games from your childhood, and as I said, I was seven when this came out, and this came out alongside Halo, but obviously got totally overlooked by the Halo craze that then took over for the next 5 years or so. The failings of this game really do start to come to light, sadly. I mean, it's nothing major and nothing overly, you can't get over it, but it's just pieces like the in-game chat, because when you'll see, once I step into the arena, you have little speech bubbles pop up in the top left hand corner. Keep an eye on it, but don't watch it, because if you do, you'll realise actually it's the same stuff sort of going over and over again, and it really is quite a shame. But the game has mostly aged quite well. I mean, if you compare this game to a game like Assassin's Creed that came out in, what, 2007 or so, that game is awful. It is totally intolerable and hasn't aged that well at all. I mean, if you think it has, and you're sitting here listening to me and you're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. The first Assassin's Creed was fantastic, even by today's standards. I totally accept that. You are your own person and you have your own opinion. But having said that, if you do like the Assassin's Creed, please, for the love of God, put a comment in the box below and let me know that you like that game, even now when it hasn't aged well at all. The 10 years are really telling. I went back to that game to try to play it, I believe 2 years ago, back in 2015. Not only could I not get into it, I could barely tolerate, just it looked terrible, the controls were awful, nothing was explained particularly. It was just, it's a shame. If they rebooted the franchise, I would totally jump on the bandwagon just to know what's happening in the Assassin's Creed franchise. I mean, I totally get it's all about Templars and weird sort of virtual reality Matrix type shit, but, you know, apart from that, it's not that good. I'm sorry, it's just not. Put a comment below to let me know that you disagree and you think I'm an asshole and this is why it's one of the most amazing games ever. But other than that, it's just not, I'm afraid. So, moving on. More text. Roy, ha 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 ha. Anyway, here Shinjuku is prime. Yeah. Can we skip this? It's unfortunate if I don't look like I'm talking to what's happening on screen. Essentially, it's because I'm not. Unfortunately, my current setup simply prohibits me from doing live commentary while I'm playing the game. I can't do it. What I am doing with this, though, is I'm recording it with my HTPC, that's my home theater PC, so I use it for streaming anime from online or my iTunes library or whatever straight to my TV. It's a very basic system. It has a i5 3570K. It has, well, that's it actually. It has 6 gigs of RAM just in case this software needs it. Elgato Game Capture tends to use more. The more you can give it, the better it's gonna run. But that's it. It's got a 500GB Western Digital black hard drive, and off I went. I played this for an hour or so. It's actually really funny. I kept getting disturbed by my friend who kept ringing me on the phone. I'm like, I'm gonna have to let you go. I have to let you go. I have to play this game. Nope, he didn't go. He's one of those friends who just doesn't. Yeah, you know who you are. I know you're watching this right now. And if you're not watching this, why the fuck are you not? Anyway, this game does have a split-screen couch co-op, which is one of the most amazing things ever, because if you paid any attention to the gaming industry, you know that couch co-op, or local co-op, as it used to be called, is totally going out the window in spectacular fashion. We're getting rid of it. Game companies are like, why should we give them that? It just stops their friends buying the same game. We should make them buy it, so we're not going to give it to them. I mean, I totally accept with games like Halo 5, which was everyone has their own opinion on Halo 5, I suppose. But you know, in Halo 5, despite the fact that they said we don't feel it would have been a good gaming experience, you just know they basically wanted you to buy it again, buy another copy of their game, which, to be honest, had less Master Chief in it than it did anyone else. Well, yeah, that's Halo 5. Tragedy. That's what happens when franchises get a little bit old, but that's a discussion for another time. So, here I am, in Shinjuku East, getting attacked. Now, I never really ran you through the armament of this basic SV that I bought for 197,000 yuan. No, wait, yen. Where's yuan from? I don't know. Anyway, to give you some sort of scale, supposedly those things I just blew up were supposed to be buildings, as in people's houses buildings. I suppose it's possible, you know, if they're only one floor, but it kind of makes the skyscrapers pretty much miles high and this machine pretty much half a mile high. It really is a little bit out of context most of the time, but it's incredible fun. So what we have on this from our first person perspective, and you can change it depending on how you prefer to play your games. I prefer a first person perspective or over the shoulder third person, which is what we got right now. So we have the shoot down counter in the bottom left hand corner. It tells you how many you've killed, you've got your money. Anything that blows up in this game somehow gives you money, so blowing these buses up, even though they're not enemies, somehow gives you free money. I don't know why, it just does. Ooh, it's out of it. So on the shoulder, on your right, you have an A1 Spider, 1A Spider, sorry, which is basically just a machine gun, rocket launcher, sorry. I'm watching myself shooting with a machine gun and thinking that's a machine gun. It's not a machine gun. On the other shoulder we have a slingshot. Now a slingshot is when you are cloaked, and this is one of the systems. In this game it works. In games like Halo, I hate it guts. That when you're invisible, if you get shot or injured in any way, even the slightest 1 point of damage, you lose your cloak. I mean, I totally understand why that would be needed in this game, but in games like Halo or Call of Duty, it really sucks. I mean, you get grazed by a pistol and you lose your invisibility. But anyone who's played Halo knows that that is totally relevant. If you've played the latest Halo games, you'll know that Halo 3 had the most amazing invisibility system, which was almost perfect. And ever since then, all the optic camouflage, as they call it, simply disappears the instant you move. Like, if you move a tiny millimeter forward, you lose basically all your optic camo, and you have to fade away slowly all over again. So what have we got? We got the 1A Spide, we got the slingshot, and on the arms we have two simple normal level pistols. Now the pistols were just about the only thing which was really different. These were harder hitting, more damage orientated pistols than the other model we looked at. We didn't look at the other two shops for their versions, but I don't like my preference is Holly, and everyone has their own preference, which is fine. Not all the robots, not all the SVs can have the same armament. So if you want certain pieces of armament, you have to go with their designated SV. It's kind of like Apple going, hi, if you want an Apple TV, you have to have an Apple iPhone that we can make obsolete and make you buy again in a few years because we're Apple and fuck you. But that's again another rant for another video. There are certain things I can rant all day about. Screw's another one of those guys you want to stay totally clear of. Other than I believe he has a 1A Spide as well on his shoulder, but his main piece of armament on one of his arms, you probably see, ooh, money, is a cone. It is just a melee weapon, but being a melee weapon, it never runs out of ammo. If he gets that close to you, not even the repulsive shield that you've seen during various parts of this combat, mostly around other people, I might point out, it's just not going to do you any good. You don't get a shield to repel melee, the melee weapons, and you'll see in a minute. probably in the next video when I go to buy one. Now I have enough money for one that essentially they are deadly. Even at normal, they are painfully deadly. A single hit will take away half your life easily, whereas obviously with these pistols I'm firing away and absolutely nothing's happening. That's the other thing about the animal chips versus the generic chips, and that's what the slingshot does. It simply does very low damage over a very wide area to basically make them drop their optive camo, like you'll see in a minute. My rocket launcher doing absolutely, well, not much damage, probably more damage than my pistols are doing, but as I was saying, that was another thing about pistols, is that the generic chip I have is worse than the lowest level custom chip. If you think you can play this game without getting a custom chip, and not a specific animal chip, and it's up to you which animal you get, you are sorely mistaken. You're not going to get very far. You're totally going to die very quickly and very, very often. This is totally charged, but as you can pretty much see, you're probably watching this guy. What? That was a total waste of ammo, wasn't it? Well done, me. It's really easy. What's up with that? You just wait until you get to the higher levels of this game. You get brawls with 6-7 SVs at the same time, all firing rocket launchers and slingshots around, and some of them have Gatling guns that do incredible damage. Ooh, that was too close. That was too close there. As I was saying, the thing with Screw, and I said the thing with the game in general, is that now I'm older, the age of the game really begins to hit home. I mean, when I say this game's 17 years old, nearly, it's almost as old as me. Well, wait, what did I say? Did I say I was 7 when this came out? That's totally a lie, I apologize. I'm 23 now, so yeah, I must have been about 6-7. Oh my god. Now I feel old. Now I feel old. Good job I'm not obsolete. Nice amount of money there. One of the easiest ways to make money, as long as you do it with the correct timing, is if you can shoot down one of those ships that drop the stuff. You get 20,000 straight off the bat. Straight off the bat. It's really, really good. It's a really good game. But obviously right now it's really easy as well. I mean, I'm running around, I've knocked out 19 people so far, and the only thing to worry about so far is my ammo, which is going down rapidly. And that's only because my generic, special chip, or I suppose what you'd call a CPU if it was a computer, it's crap at targeting. It can't target to save its life. I have to be right in front of it. You'll see in a second, probably, as I go along. You just go straight past things, and it's, look, right there, I was right in front of it, and it doesn't lock on. I mean, it's truly terrible. But this is what you have to do during the early stages of this game. You just have to build an SV that works for you. As I said, personally, I prefer rollers on a Holly with a Javelin, and if I can put on a 3A Spide, which is basically a triple rocket launcher, then I will, because I love triple rocket launchers. I mean, who doesn't love rocket launchers? They lock on and they never miss as long as you can keep them in your line of sight and they don't go invisible or anything like that. As I say, the thing with the intro video, apart from the fact that it's pure magic, is it's a total lie. In fact, this is the second time I've tried recording some narrative for this, and my other narrative basically went along the lines of, that's a lie, you're a lie, the game's a lie. The non-game footage, that's also a very big lie. Just total BS as far as it is, which is a real shame. I would love to see this game remade. In fact, I am planning at this stage to make a game similar to this, and that was a pink Mona Lisa, like I told you about earlier. A pink, bright pink SV belongs to the fans of this Vocaloid cyber idle, which, as I keep saying, totally exactly the same reminiscent of what's going on in Japan right now. So, as I mentioned, every video, I don't know how long each video is going to be, I want to do at least one boss. So in this case we're talking about the Class D boss, right? The Class D boss for this map. Now the problem is, I believe the bosses are randomly generated. I've spent 2 hours in this game before, not particularly this map, but, you know, a rumble on one of the 3 maps. I'm waiting for him to appear, and he never did. In 2 hours, obviously I was muted for the rest of the game, but no boss, and there's just nothing you can do about it. So I apologise in advance. Some videos might be a bit chop and change, you know, I might be there 1 minute and suddenly crop the video so the boss appears the next minute, because I simply don't know how long each boss is going to take to appear. Some bosses come out literally within 5 minutes of you getting out the door, which is the best case scenario, because you have all your health and you have all your ammo and you can just go at it with everything you got. Other times they seemingly wait until you have no ammo, you're down to the last 25% of your health, and sometimes, occasionally, you can lose your limbs. It sounds weird, but you don't just have to take damage generically to your whole body. You can lose limbs in this game. You can just lose a pistol or lose one of your shoulder weapons, and obviously that costs a lot to repair, which gets deducted from the amount of money you get in each game anyway. So you never want to go into a game without coming out with enough money to repair yourself, which is unfortunate, because with Screw later on in the game, when he starts using his cone on his right arm, he can rip your arms off. So yeah, another Mona Lisa, and they just stand there as well. They're just so stupid. They just literally, but I love reading the comments though. Love reading the little bits of banter, apart from my stupid little Electron chip, which is like, go me. It's like the ultimate tech. Ooh, see, like that. I think that was a manual weapon, because those sparks are the sparks you get when you use a manual weapon against someone else. That's just the animation that turns up, because it represents, you know, like the metal of a cone grinding against the metal of your chassis. So that's the animation that plays. So yeah, and you saw how much chunk that took out. That took out a huge chunk, and that's not even one of the normal, you know, hard to beat bosses you get later on. That's not Screw later on, that's just a generic SV character. Yes, he's a Mona Lisa, but nothing else. He's just generic. So you can imagine later on in the game how much damage Screw does if you get on his wrong side. Like I get, you need to get hostile. See, it's quite funny reading the banter. It shows its age when you watch it too much. And obviously, I would try to shoot those down, but to be honest, it's not worth it, and you need the health or the money. If you're fully topped up with health and you got javelins or something, you don't need any ammo, it's best to shoot it down to stop other people getting it. I can't say I've ever met a boss or any SV NPC in the game who's run out of ammo in any of his weapons, but one assumes that really does happen, or can happen, but I've just never seen it. Oh, come on. Look, he's right in front of you. See the chip? See how long? Did you see that? The chip took, I don't know what, 10 seconds to actually get a lock? And you can tell it's got a lock, apart from the missile lock, which is that little square. When the center dot moves to the side of the circle, it means you've got a lock on him. If you fire any other time than when that little dot is tracking the guy you're shooting at, you're just going to be wasting your ammo, because there's going to be no point in actually, you know, wasting your ammo trying to get him, because you won't hit him at all. So yeah, I'm just going to glide around for a little while waiting for this boss to come out. I mean, it sounds weird. Ooh, money, get the money. Anyway, so if you haven't worked out, green is ammo, that's fairly universal. Blue is money for some reason, and obviously the red and white is the universal sign for health, so it gives you back your health. I would like to make this game in the Unreal Engine, or make like a ode to it, or you know, like a tribute kind of thing, because I think if there's one thing we really need right now on the Steam marketplace, or any marketplace, any game console, is another good quality mech game. And most of the ones you get these days are just so, you know, they're rubbish. They're like someone's put them together using, you know, 30p's worth of investment and a postage stamp to send it off to a developer. No surprises there, it comes out broken, buggy and useless, and really boring as well. Not looking at any particular game company in particular, Ubisoft. I didn't say that. Yeah, don't try to drop too many names in this video, but some exceptionally rubbish decision-making companies deserve to be crapped on, quite frankly. I mean, if anybody, I mean, there are probably loads of people out there right now who potentially agree with me. Bungie made Halo. They made Halo what it is. They made Halo which millions and millions of fans turned out for to buy on day one. Halo 3, I think, had queues around the block in every store, you know, in the Western world. It was huge. But then they go and make a game like Destiny, which is lacking and rubbish, and they sold us a trailer which indicated they had some amazing story to tell about the darkness and where the darkness came from and how the Traveller pushed the darkness back. But we didn't get it, and I don't know why we didn't get it. I'm not fully versed, but I have heard it mentioned quite a lot of times that basically when there was a guy who left left Bungie, who wrote the narrative, or helped to write the narrative of the Halo franchise, and basically Bungie threw its dolly out the pram and took all the narrative that guy worked on out of the game. Maybe it did, maybe that didn't happen. I don't know whether that did or didn't happen, but you know, other things are, you know, Activision took, because it was a partnership that Bungie signed with Activision. Activision in theory was like the parent company. Maybe it was just Activision calling all these shots. In any case, I don't think anyone can really deny the fact that Destiny is lacking compared to what they tried to sell it. If anyone has seen the tragedy, the absolute catastrophe that was No Man's Sky, it's that sort of thing. They tried to sell a product they just couldn't deliver on, and whether they couldn't deliver it on because it was just bad marketing, or whether they got bogged down with the amount of time they had to deliver on their promise, you know, quote unquote promises, I don't know. But in any case, it was terrible. I mean, I luckily didn't buy it, partially because, well, I don't have a PS4, I know it's on PC, and my rig I'm editing this on is running an AMD FX 8350 with an SLI 970, so it's not the most powerful machine in the world, but it's more than capable enough to play most modern games these days. And when I say play, I don't mean, oh my god, like 60 FPS minimum, 4K, no, 1080p, 30 is minimal and playable, 60 is preferred, but if it gets there, it gets there. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I care more about narrative than I do about any of the other crap, you know, graphics. For example, take a look at the video in front of you. If you think that was in, you know, 720p even, no, yeah, you're obviously younger than 20 years old, because anyone who's 20 years old knows games didn't come out in 720p. It wasn't done back then. It doesn't have to be done now. I don't know where this sort of end of the world mentality has come from, that if a game doesn't come out in amazing graphical detail, it can't possibly be a good quality game. I know a friend and a friend's channel, my friend Gamebreaker, and I'll put a link to him in the description for him because I know he's been asking for one. Well, there you go, Gamebreaker, right there. He plays games which I don't personally go in for, but he assures me they are the most amazing narrative-based games, not games I would ever play. I'm not a massive fan of 2D side-scrollers, but he is, and he assures me they are fantastic. And indeed, there doesn't have to be much to a good narrative, you know. You go back, or go to my friend's channel, Gamebreaker Mills, and you look at his video, his playlist of a Crash Bandicoot, the first Crash Bandicoot game that me and him collabed on. That was an amazing game, and it's so fun and it's so retro. It doesn't have an overly powerful narrative, it's just, yeah, gasso. Alright, so this is, okay, so how far are we in? So what are we, 51 minutes into the video from your point of view. So I did do a bit of cropping from this video, that's just how I kept getting interrupted. So overall I've been playing for probably about an hour and 15 minutes now, and he's only just turned up, and he's very easy to tell when you bump into him. There he is, because he's got the red. He's the only NPC which will have like red nameplate. Everyone else is blue, just so it, you know, it really pops. It's like, this is your enemy. So let's go after it. As I say, you can totally see the chip coming into how bad it is right now. Standing in front of him, and this, as I say, it's the dot you're looking for in the aiming reticule. If that doesn't move to the side and track his movements, the pistol's bullets are just not going to hit it at all. And I do believe that's a Gatling gun. When you see it a second ago, when it was flashing repeatedly, like every couple of seconds, that is a Gatling gun, or just a straightforward machine gun. Obviously he is only class D, so he's not overly powerful, but you can see that short encounter took away a good 25% of my life. And in any case, that is the end of this video. Video number 1 is done. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on this journey into the amazing retro world of Phantom Crash. If you would like to tune in next time for the second video to this playlist, I do encourage you to press the like button, please click the subscribe, and don't forget that little bell. That way you get a notification on your smartphone or by email when it actually comes out, or when I release videos or anything else. It will let you know. I don't recognize these characters actually. Obviously there's no names, but something definitely going on. Why? He looks green. A first time. Well, I am a first time. Thank you very much. Well, if we let him in, the total number becomes exactly 127. And the point of that is, I don't know. But that's it. Obviously, there is something going on here, and as I say, I've never actually got to the end of this game, so it will be a wonderful trip for me to take personally, because I've always wanted to finish this game. It will be fantastic to put on YouTube, and hopefully sometime in the near future I can get the setup arranged so I can do live commentary. If not, it's just gonna have to be post-production processing. But you know, there's nothing particularly wrong with post-production processing. Obviously it's not live and at the moment, but I'd like to think that maybe I can, you know, say things now in retrospect that I couldn't say during the actual time. Certainly it's easier to do post-processing than it is to do live commentary. just because my gaming headset, which supposedly worked with the PC, just doesn't work with the PC. So that's unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? Turtle Beach. Again, not dropping any names. Turtle Beach, just in case you missed it first time. So yes, thank you everybody for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Please press the like and subscribe button. Don't forget that little ding, that little bell. And if you do have any comments or questions, or just you want to tell me why I'm totally wrong about the Halo franchise and why I should kill myself because I don't like Assassin's Creed, do stick that into the comments below. I can't definitely not guarantee I won't get into an argument over something which probably doesn't definitely not matter to you. Thank you and good day.